Hello art nerds! So I was inspired by an art assignment episode from a few weeks ago called How to Visit an Art Museum. And I would like to explore this topic a little bit further by looking at what happens when you're in front of an individual piece of art. What to do, what to think, what to talk about. I've been working as a gallery guide in an art museum for the past 2 years. I find that sometimes visitors don't exactly know what to do when they're in front of a piece of art, especially if it's something they've never seen before or have no idea what it's about. And to be quite honest, I often feel the same way. So I have a series of steps and or questions to ask myself or ask another person if I'm with someone. Describe the physical characteristics, whether it's color, shape, line, form. Just stick with the factual and objective. My recommendation is don't even look at the panel and description on the side to begin with. Don't even look at that. I see lots of subdued colors, but also there are some splashes of reds and yellows. And then maybe go into what types of subject matter that you can observe. It looks to be some sort of city or metropolitan area. It looks like there's smokes and steam coming up, so there's probably some sort of industrial activity. The next step is to analyze. So maybe you take a look at how you think the art was created. Was it painted, drawn, sculpted, photographed, or is it a collage? This looks like it's a painting. I'm pretty certain it's probably oil. Then perhaps you can look at the way that it was painted, look at the composition, the technique that the artist used. It looks like the artist used a lot of pretty loose brushstrokes, and nothing is really crisply depicted. The perspective of the composition looks like it's about the person standing higher up, maybe in a building, maybe on a hilltop. And then the next step is to interpret. So you should look at the work and maybe take a stab at what it's trying to convey if you think there is a narrative. I think the artist is trying to depict some sort of industrial, urban, metropolitan scene, maybe looking at the impacts of industrialization, of urbanization, and then maybe talking a little bit about commerce and trade. And also, then you can talk about how the art makes you feel emotionally. I think this scene feels very lively and exciting in a way. It looks like it's a very happening place. It also makes me kind of curious, actually. Curious to know what's going on, where this is actually taking place. The next thing to do is to relate. Think about what this work might remind you of, or if you think that the artist was influenced by anyone or anything, whether it's other artists, cultural events, books, movies, history, really just about anything you can think of. It reminds me of like 19th century movies and things like that. Can you relate this to any historical context? I think historically this is probably 19th century or maybe early 20th century. From what I can tell from the boats and the buildings, does this relate to any of your own life experiences? Well, I also live in a city, so it's interesting to think about the different impacts of technology. Obviously, what I'm experiencing is probably a few hundred years after what is going on here, but it's interesting to think about. Also, I like boats. And then the final step, if you're interested, is to perhaps discover. This might be a good time to look at the panel on the side and the description to see who the artist may be, when it was done, and what media were used. Oh, okay, Pissarro. I think I remember learning about him in art history class. Okay, yeah, 1896. I was kind of close in guessing what time period this was from. It looks like the location is Pont Bois-Deux in Rouen. Wow, my French accent is really bad. Or alternatively, you could talk to someone who works at the museum. To be honest, a lot of times I get kind of bored and I just love it when someone asks me questions. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please let us know if you have any suggestions on what you can say or do or think about when looking at a work of art. And as always, please subscribe to us. Ow, I just got stabbed. This hurt. Anyway, please leave a comment, make a suggestion, let us know what else you want us to talk about, and subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.